Hey guys, welcome to Viking InfoSec episode 1. I'm going to go over something that I've discovered doesn't exactly have the best documentation on the internet. You can find videos, but sometimes people just don't cover little nuanced details that really should be covered in something that should be incredibly easy, but sometimes can have things go wrong. We're going to be installing an image of Kali Linux, and in this case I'm using VMware Workstation 15, the Pro version. However, the same concepts will work in VirtualBox, the same concepts will work in Hyper-V, and many other kinds of virtual hosts. I'm using VMware Workstation because it just works. So I would say the process for this one is the most similar for other VMware Workstations and VirtualBox as well. So what we're first going to want to do is go to kali.org/downloads. And I will timestamp this video in case somebody's already downloaded it. I'm going to cancel this because I already did it. So you download this from here. Get the HTTP of the 64-bit Linux, or if you want a different desktop environment like Mate or KDE or whatever, you can get the other ones. I downloaded this one. Now, in videos, I never see anyone actually check the sum. So we're going to go over the SHA256 Sum and how to actually check it. So first, I need to know where I have my file, and in this case, I actually have it in my V drive in my ISO folder. So I want to open up Windows PowerShell, which you can do by just hitting Start and typing in PowerShell if you don't find PowerPoint. And I'm going to type in Get-FileHash, and then space -algorithm space SHA256 and the path. And after I do that, I hit Enter. Going to wait a second. Right, so now we have the checksum here. It's going to show up in this sort of format. So it begins 6757, ends in B2CF. Now you should just check more than the beginning end. I try to pick something in like the beginning. We have B0EB, B0EB. Yeah, it looks pretty much the same. You can check over absolutely every single digit. I absolutely should. I'm not going to. So the hash matches. Next, so we have this here. What I'm going to do now is just pull this off to the side. I'm going to open up VMware Workstation, and you're met with this screen. I'm going to create a new virtual machine. I'm going to use typical. I'm going to use an installer disk image. I'm going to browse for that. I'm going to find my 2019.2 AMD 64, select that image, hit next. I'm going to select Linux. I'm going to go find Debian 9 64-bit, because that is the instance I'm using. I would like my virtual machine to actually be stored on my V drive, and I can put that inside isos/VM. That'll work. Hit next. I want this to be a 40 gig image. You can do 20. I just want to do 40 because I'm going to be downloading a bunch of tools. I'm going to be using Kali for real, and I don't feel like expanding later because I'm lazy. It defaults like split virtual disk into multiple files. I'm going to do single because it says splitting the disk makes it easier to move the virtual machine to another computer, but may reduce performance. I in no way will want to move this to another computer. I'll just blow out the VM and just make a new one on another computer. So I want performance. I'm going to put it into a single file. I want to customize hardware because right now I have memories at 512, network adapters at NAT, and my processor's probably Dookie. So first I want to give it, I have 32 gigs of RAM. I'm going to give it just 8. It shouldn't need any more than that. I have 8 threads. I'm going to give this 4. Since I have a quad-core hyper-threaded processor, so I have 8 logical cores to work with, I'm going to give it 4 because I want it to have a little bit of performance. And networking, I don't want it to have the same IP address as my machine. I actually want it to have its own IP address, so I'm going to select bridged. Now, one thing you need to know is once you install Kali, you're going to have to install VMware Tools to actually get the display to match your native display resolution. So we're going to come over to the display. We are not going to use stretch mode at all. And we're going to use host setting for monitors. Now, when you boot up the VM, this is probably going to change. We're going to have to come back, but I'll show you that part once we install Kali. So this is good. I'm going to hit close. I'm going to hit finish. Alright, so now at this point you should have your virtual machine show up here. If you create your VM and for some reason it doesn't show up right away, like you create it but then it doesn't populate in this list, go to File, Open, browse to where you created your virtual machine and select the VMware Virtual Machine configuration file, open that up. You'll have this here. So what we're going to do next is we're going to power it on. Disk file. Yeah, it's fine, whatever. It just knows that my virtual machine file is on a network drive, which is fine. Hello. And we're going to click into the screen, go down to graphical install because I like it better, and I'm a pleb. Alright, so through this, we're going to select, I'm going to select English because that's my language. Select your language, select your location, your keyword layout, let this run. I'm going to call my host Kali, so when somebody scans my system, they know exactly what OS I have, without having to scan for OS. Amazing. Domain, use nothing. Root password, just pick something. Mine is absolutely brute forceable, because I don't feel like typing in anything silly. Please pick a better password than I do. I'm going to select Eastern as my time zone, so now y'all know where I am. I'm going to use guide of the entire disk. SCSI3, all files in one partition because I have no idea what I'm doing. Finish partitioning and write changes to disk. Go down to yes and hit yes. Alright, once your system is done installing there, we're going to get to this menu here. Use a network mirror. I always select yes. Can ask for proxy information. Nothing. Now it's going to configure the APT packages. Now we also have this menu down at the bottom here which might pop up for you, talking about VMware Tools enables many features. We are going to install this, but not through this UI. We're going to install it through these things back here in a moment. It usually works out a little better, so I'm going to say never remind me ever. Just going to install the grub bootloader now. Install the grub bootloader, yeah. And installation complete. So continue, finish up the installation. And if you ever want to detach your mouse from this screen, by the way, it's just Control-Alt. And click back in to go back in. Control-Alt snaps back out. It's a nice tip if you clicked in and just clicked away from the menu that actually told you about that. So we're going to boot in. Username is going to be root. Unless you somehow did something different. The password you picked. And this is what we're met with right now. Now, as you can see, it's a fixed display size. We can do view, full screen, and we can also stretch guest by either keeping aspect ratio or free stretch, which looks a bit like so, and gross, and I can also view full screen, and it's disgusting, so I'm going to come out of that, because I hate it. What we're going to do is we're going to open up the terminal first thing first. We're going to grab, can I share my clipboard yet? I know VMware Tools is one of the things that shares clipboard. Can I do it yet? Nope. Alright, so apt update and apt-y full upgrade. I am not typing at all. God damn it. Apt update and apt-y full upgrade. It's going to do the thing. Cool. Now, after that, we want to do apt-y reinstall install open VM Tools desktop fuse. I swear I can type. There's also a fuck up in the front here. Why did nobody tell me? You're all assholes. Go. What? So this is going to install VMware Tools. It's also going to install the current version of VMware Tools, not whatever your VMware Workstation is going to give you. And this is the method over here is what is suggested by Kali themselves. And it's going to stick at 95% because it knows I'm impatient. It heard me talking shit. This is what you get for installing it on 54 RPM drives. We're going to reboot. In the meantime, Control-Alt to snap out. I'm going to go View. No, I need to actually go into Settings for the VM. I'm going to come over to the display, make sure that stretch mode is turned off, because that being turned on is going to make it so you can't actually set the display to be what your native display is. So I'm going to uncheck stretch mode, make sure use host setting for monitors is checked. If this is grayed out, you need to actually power down your virtual machine. But I can change stretch mode while it's powered on. Okay. I'm going to wait for this to load up. Root. Super secure password. I want to go view. Now, auto fit guest is what we want to do. So view, auto size, auto fit guest is what we want. I'm going to stretch this, and you notice how that's stretched and kept aspect ratio. Next, we're going to go to view, full screen, or Control-Alt-Enter to view full screen. And now we have this bar up top that can be really annoying to some people. I just do view exclusive mode. And again, this tells you the Control-Alt key will snap you out of this. Enter exclusive mode. So now we have Kali full screen, actually detecting our native resolution, which in this case is 1920 by 1080 because I want frame rate over resolution. Don't judge me. I can set this to 200, but that's gross. I'm going to keep it at 100. If you have a 4K display, you're going to want to come in here and set this to 100, 200, 300, whatever, because this thing over here and everything will be super duper tiny and your life will suck. So, that is how to install Kali Linux, and at the time the most recent version was 2019.2 on VMware Tools Workstation. I have Workstation 15 Pro. If you have any other versions, if you have any other questions on how to do it maybe on VirtualBox exactly, I would say drop a comment, shoot me a message, and I'll help you figure it out. But this is generally everything you need to get going on Kali. Alright, so I'll see you in the next episode. On our next episode, I'm going to be going over some tools that I think are really neat to use in Linux. Specifically a tool I like that is called Shellfish, and other tools made by the same people. We'll go over them. They're super duper neato. So, alright, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you.